Hello, and welcome to another World of UX podcast. This is your host, Darren Hood. Thanks, everybody, for taking the time to join us on today. And a special hello to those of you joining us for the first time. Welcome to the podcast. For those not familiar with me, I am Darren Hood. Again, the host of the show. I've been doing what we now call user experience now, dating back to 95. I didn't used to think that I was doing it. I didn't realize I had that much experience until I went back and assessed my experience and realized I actually did start doing this work back in 95. I was doing things that we know now. I was working with information architecture. Didn't call it that. I was checking for cognitive load. Didn't call it that. I conducted guerrilla usability testing. Didn't call it that. But when I went back and looked at what I did, I'm like, wow, you know what? I have been doing it a little bit longer than I thought. And I went from doing it on a freelance basis. And I didn't do like people do today. You see a lot of people today that say that they're freelancers, but they say they're freelancers because somebody told them to say that they were freelancing. A lot of people who have the label of freelancing, they're not really freelancing. They don't even know what's going on yet. So, and for those of you, again, a special welcome to those of you joining for the first time. There is no sugarcoating over here. There is no placating over here. We do not coddle over here. We do not baby or pamper anyone over here. We do not treat anybody in an indulgent way over here. We are here to talk about the discipline, the way that it should be known, the way it should be understood, and we offer no apologies for any of these things. So the things I'm talking about now, hey, I'm just telling you what it was and what we did and what we called it. But I was freelancing. I started doing what we now refer to as user experience during my day job on a part-time basis initially. And then I eventually graduated to the point where I'm like, you know what? I love this. I know I'm doing instructional design during the day, but I really, really love what I'm doing. And I'd like to just focus on this full time, to the extent that I ended up going and getting, after I got my bachelor's in IT, I ended up getting 2 UX related master's degrees. And I'm saying all these to make a point. Well, you know, I'm introducing myself to some people, but I'm also trying to make a point. And you'll see what I mean as we get through this today. I eventually learn how to do this. How do you do the work? What is going on? Let's fill gaps. I like education, but I also love filling gaps. So I got my master's degrees, not because I was trying to learn how to do UX, but I wanted to subject myself to a higher authority, in this case, the institution of higher learning. I wanted to check the boxes and make sure that I was who I said I was, and that I was learning what I was supposed to be learning. I got my first UX related master's degree from Syracuse University. Go Orange. Let's put an orange one out there. And I did find that program, there were some things, I saw some gaps in the program. Remember, I had a background in instructional design, so I recognized some things. And because I like education, hey, you know what? I heard about this great program at Kent State University, so I went to Kent State. And looking at the curriculum and comparing the curriculums, I knew that I was going to fill more gaps, so I just went for it. And long story short, and X number of years later, here I am. Now I teach at 5 universities and I educate people everywhere. I mentor people all over the place. And I give. In addition to the podcast, I'm one of the contributing authors to the book, 97 Things Every UX Practitioner Should Know, just helping people to understand what the discipline is, what we're supposed to be doing, what our responsibilities are, and not only for those of us who may have been doing it for some length of time, because there is a commitment to lifelong learning if you're going to do this work, but helping people that are up and coming and are looking to get into UX, trying to always give them a North Star so they know what direction to go. Now, why do we say all of these things, and what's up with the introduction in addition to just helping people to understand who this is talking on this show? I'm not here trying to be a thought leader. I'm not here trying to develop a following. I am not trying to get people to come after me. I have never, up until recently, never monetized my podcast at all. I'm barely doing it now because it was never about money. And even when that does start to happen, when monetization does become more of a thing, it's still not because of that. And you'll notice, go back and listen to me 3 years ago and listen to me 3 years from now and check and see if you see anything different about the way that I present. You will not find any difference. I already know that because it's never about the money. I love the discipline. I love what the discipline has afforded me in my life. I love what the discipline has done for me and helped me to fulfill my career aspirations. And I want to help other people do the same thing. Now, all those things said, as we transition into letting you know what today's topic is, again, I give and I give and I give and I give and I give. According to an application called Metricool, I don't know how they calculate it, but they said that my social media reach, and this does not even include my engagement on LinkedIn, said that my social media reach is approximately 15 million. That's my social media reach. So all the different posts that I put out there, usually trying to tell people, hey, go in this direction. Hey, go in that direction. Hey, be careful of this. Be careful of that. Being a caretaker, I do pride myself in being a caretaker for the discipline. So this is something that we do all the time. And so most of the people who engage with me on LinkedIn. That's where most of my impact is made. Even though we have a monthly meetup for UX people, we have the posts that we do. We have a Twitter account. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. We're on Blue Sky. We're at a lot of different places, and I'm always trying to share. Again, not to make a name for myself. I just want to help people. So I'm always putting myself out there. I'm always sharing. I'm always helping, doing all types of things, book recommendations list, blog, you name it, YouTube channel. We've got stuff everywhere, but it's always, again, take the discipline forward. Pay it forward. The discipline has been good to me, be good to other people. And one of the things that happens on a regular basis, and it's not just me, I know a lot of people who experience what I'm about to mention, there are people who will reach out on a consistent basis. I get several of these messages a week where somebody I do not know, and in some cases, people that I do. I might as well be fair and cover both angles of that, where people will reach out to me and they'll ask me, hey, can you look at my portfolio? Hey, do you have any tips? Hey, do you have any books that you can recommend for me? Things of that nature. And some of these people are familiar with my content. I talked on another episode about people who connect blindly. That is always a bad thing. When you connect with somebody on social media, whether you're following them or like they do on LinkedIn, you have an actual formal connection. You can actually follow people and not connect. That actually, a lot of times, is a better way to go. Just follow and helps you to see the person's content. And then in some cases, people go further and they want to send you a request to connect, which gives you a more personal, that's a step further than following. It's a more personal connection. You're starting, that's the beginning of developing relationships, which is something that I'll talk about that as we get through today's topic. That's the way you go about doing these things. Make the connection, follow, engage, like, support, laugh, whatever it is, post a comment, post a question, share a thought, share the fact that you appreciate something. This is all part of being on social media. And I talk about it all the time. It's called social media. It means you have to have social skills. You don't want to be awkward or anything like that. And I don't want to hear people always telling me, I don't know how to do it, Darren. I'm shy. I'm shy too. And look at me. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear excuses. If you want to excel, every time you find yourself reaching for an excuse, stop, be disciplined, stop, and throw it out. No excuses. If you want to be excellent, throw the excuses out. So that said, you have people that reach out from time to time. Again, they ask for different things or they ask about different things, or sometimes they just want to say a couple of things. I love and give a shout out to all these nameless people. I don't have the names, but there are people that I have greater relationships with today that all started out the same way. All they did was connect and just say something. I appreciated that post. I heard your podcast. It did a lot for me. These are things people have said to me. I really love that book recommendation list. There was a book that was on that list that really impacted me. Thank you for that. I will keep up with it. I will keep up with your content on Medium. They get social. They get social. And no matter how shy you are, can you make yourself say hello? Don't tell me you haven't, because you'd already be in a hole somewhere. We learn. Have you ever hailed a cab? Have you ever let the bus driver know I'm getting out at the next stop and the little thingy isn't working? There are times. Have you gone to the grocery store to ask somebody where to find the sandwich spread? Once you realize you have a need, and this is how I get past my shyness. If there's a need, I find other people's needs to be a driving factor. I don't care about the shyness. All the things that cause me to be shy, they all go by the wayside when I think about someone else having a need and then stepping up and being a servant and meeting that need. That's where the all of the things associated with shyness go by the wayside for me. I forget that I'm shy when I'm in the moment. I'm not being shy right now. I'm doing a job. I'm fulfilling a job. I'm fulfilling my responsibility. Shyness be gone. So that's where the mindset comes in. So you get all these requests. But what I want to talk about today, I've never gone this long without giving you what the topic is. I want to talk about the normalization of rudeness today. And what does this have to do with the world of UX? And for those of you, again, that are new to the show, I talk about everything associated with UX. I don't just talk about how to do the work. I'm not just going to sit here and talk to you about tools. I talk about any and everything connected to this discipline, any and everything that ties into what impacts us today. And one of the things that happens in UX, especially with up and comers, is they want to tap in because somebody sold them the gospel of mentoring. And I put it that way because people say you got to have a mentor. And if you don't have a mentor, you won't get anywhere. That's not true at all. And there were a lot of us that started doing what we now call UX back in the 90s, early 2000s. And none of us had mentors. None of us. We read a lot of books. We went to a lot of websites. We spent a lot of time on useit.com, Jacob Nielsen's old website. We spent a lot of time on the NNG website. We spent a lot of time looking at content on web pages that suck.com. And so we did things like that. We hung out in the BBS forums and we talked to people and we learned. We would ask questions and we would build relationships. And then it might get to the point where you ask somebody to invest a little bit more time in you that might be beyond the norm. And that's sort of where we're going tonight. So it's interesting that, we built all these relationships. We did all these things we needed to do. And so today in 2024, there's a lot more places to connect. There's a lot Facebook activity and Slack and Discord servers and just all types of different ways, Reddit, and you just name it. There's all types of ways to connect with people and to engage with people today. But what has become lost in all of this is social expertness, where, and it takes emotional intelligence to excel at that, which is one of the reasons why I push it so hard, that you got to strive to be as emotionally intelligent as you can so you can optimize your engagement with other people. And this is even more important if you know that you're shy or you're a bit withdrawn or a bit introverted. That means you got to work harder to make sure to build those relationships and to dialogue and do the things to get what you can get out of those engagements. So today, a lot of people are taught, because they're taught, you got to have a mentor, you got to have somebody. And again, you don't. Still in 2024, you don't have to have a mentor. You just need to tap into resources, just keep paying attention. You don't have to have somebody that's holding your hand, because in conjunction, and we've talked about this before in another episode where we talked about where we demystified the concept of mentoring, because everybody is not mentee material. Everybody can't be mentored. Some people are too arrogant. Some people are too prideful. Some people are just too awkward. Some people are too arrogant. Everybody cannot be mentored. So when somebody says everybody needs a mentor, and they bypass the fact that everybody cannot be mentored. Everybody is not, they're just not mentor or mentee material. And everybody can't be a mentor either. There's a lot of people today that want to be mentored and can't. And there are a lot of people that are trying to mentor and they don't qualify as mentors. They don't have enough experience. They don't have enough of anything to share with anybody. A lot of people mentor just so they can put a notch in their belt. They don't even care about the people they're helping out. So there's a lot there, but that's not the topic we're getting at today either. So we want to focus on the topic at hand. I want to sort of fast forward and share something that, and this, there was, last time I checked, there was approximately 15,000 impressions associated with a post that I shared on LinkedIn recently. And I almost want to just go out there and give you the actual number. Why don't we just do that? Because so I'm going to go out to LinkedIn right now and hopefully I don't get a bunch of inbox notifications here, but I'm going to go out and take a look at this post. And I'm going to share with you what this post was about and how it came about. So someone sent me a message. Oh, good thing I looked because the numbers changed dramatically. Someone sent me a message. Again, I know a lot of people get these kinds of messages. I get them on a regular basis. I get many of them during the week. They come in and they have different types of asks. People are asking for different types of things at different times. And some of the asks are reasonable. Some of them are doable. Some of them are very imposing. Some of them are rude. Some of them are, they're reflective of extremely high levels of entitlement. And it's interesting the conclusions people draw. But this is what happened. Somebody sent me a note. I did not know this person. Let's set the stage completely. I did not know this person. I've never interacted with this person before. It was blatantly obvious. I got to mention this now too. This person, I don't know why they connected with me. You could tell that they had no knowledge whatsoever of my content. They had never heard anything because if they did, they would have known not to do this. You're not going to hear my content. You're not going to hear my show, read my post, and then turn around and then do what this person did. I wish this person all the best. There is no malice toward this person at all, but I do have to set boundaries. And if you're going to have any type of psychological safety on social media, you must establish boundaries. I have boundaries. I talk about those boundaries. I inform people about these boundaries, and I am going to be fair because I always keep this stuff out there. Now, if somebody chooses to not pay attention to these boundaries, that's on them. I am going to hold you accountable if you're connected with me, that you know who you're connected with, and not going to do something that's going to cause the type of reaction that this person got from me. At any rate, the person sent a message. They said, I'm blank, and I wanted to introduce myself. Okay, all right. They start out okay, comma. And the introduction lasted all of 6 words. 6 words. That's not an introduction. So this went north and then south very fast. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm a UX researcher and designer. Period. I've been currently looking for openings and wondering if you might be able and willing to assist. Now, again, I don't know. Thank you. That's the end of it. So there is no introduction. It's all about me. That's what that message says. Shame on the people who can't understand and decipher that. I've told people on a regular basis. I've been counseling people for literally 43 years. And so my ability to read people, it doesn't take me long to figure out who I'm talking to and what's going on. I know the personality traits at work. I know different elements that are happening here, what's going on inside the person's head. I can read between lines very accurately. And this is a case where, one person said, you really overreacted. Okay, no, I didn't overreact because, and you'll hear what I said to this person in a moment, but you said you want to introduce yourself. You didn't. See, now this person was going to do the right thing because what you have to do with these situations, if you want to reach out to somebody, you see they have more experience, you think there's an opportunity to learn from this individual, you want to reach out, it takes courage to do it. I get it. I get all of that. Then do that. If there's somebody you don't know, then you need to establish a no. You need to establish something. You need to start to establish common ground. You don't just come in and start asking people for things that you're only really entitled to if you have a relationship with that individual. Now, if people don't understand that, then again, I'm very frank. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. You need to grow up and get to know somebody. Don't just come in. If a person moves in on my street, I cannot walk over to their house, say, "Hi, I'm Darren. Welcome to the neighborhood. Hey, can I have so-and-so?" You don't do that. A person is going to be shocked because they don't know you. They're going to react the same way that I did, that you're about to just find out about. You have to build rapport. Rapport comes before relationship. So we can't just say build a relationship. You have to build a rapport. This person didn't do that. This person went from, "Hi, I'm so-and-so. I wanted to introduce myself," which you never really did. "I'm a UX researcher and designer," is not an introduction. They jumped straight to what they wanted. I've been currently looking for openings. Okay, so are a lot of other people. I was wondering if you might be able to and willing to assist. I actually had a person write me once. I told you, I get multiple messages like this every week. A person wrote me once, I was looking for a job, and the person said, "Hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you help me?" They didn't even bother to look to see that I was looking for a job too. I blocked that individual immediately. When people come off as selfish, self-serving, inconsiderate, when you can tell that they have not really looked at all. Have they looked at your profile at all? Did they see anything other than the fact that you have X number of years? And do they realize, and this goes for everybody out there, just because somebody is more experienced than you doesn't mean they owe you anything. And it certainly doesn't mean that they have to take time out of their schedule and stop everything that they're doing to look out for you. It's amazing. The people are normalizing rudeness. And it has become more and more apparent during this last couple of years with all the different layoffs, people losing their jobs left and right, this thing going on with the taxes where the tax breaks for the companies associated with having R&D people working at your organizations. That's one of the reasons that a lot of UX people lost their jobs. Another reason a lot of people lost their jobs is because a lot of posers, retrofits, and upstarts got jobs and weren't bringing value, so they got let go. Don't forget that. And now even people who are actually bringing value have lost their jobs because of this. So a lot of this kind of an individual, a lot of these people they're at the middle of a lot of what's going on because real UX brings value. There is no way that real UX does not bring value to an organization. There is no way that real UX practitioners do not help to generate a sizable ROI and competitive advantage for the companies that they work for. This is going to be an automatic, but these places where people are making up titles, these people where people that don't know UX are running teams and everybody is just protecting their paycheck, that's going to run out eventually because those smart people in those leadership roles, and they're smart, that's how they got those roles, are eventually going to find out that you are a complete waste of time and send you packing. But at any rate, this person sent this. My response was, I don't entertain requests like this. They're unprofessional, inconsiderate, and selfish. Why did I say they're unprofessional? Because again, a professional person would take the time to build a rapport first. You would know not to impose yourself in somebody's life. You would know not to automatically insert yourself into someone's life. You would know not to come to a person as if you were entitled to their assistance. All of those mindsets are rude. And the thing is, you have a lot of people today, they weren't taught what was rude when they were 3. They didn't know what was rude when they were 10. They didn't know what was rude when they were 20. And now they're 25, 30, 35, and 40. and condemning people like me for responding like this. I know what rudeness is. I was taught what rudeness was. I'm older. I still know what rudeness is. And so I'm going to let somebody know, and I'm going to respect you enough to tell you when you step out of line. That's actually an act of respect. People were not taught this, so now they're so estranged from this aspect of emotional intelligence, actually, that they want to go and then demonize the people that stand and tell you what you need to be told. We respect you enough to do it. There's a few of us that will. There's a lot of people that won't. There's a lot of people that tried to gaslight me and make me feel bad for what I said. Oh, well, maybe he didn't know. Not my problem. He knows now. He just wanted help. That's coddling. And those kind of people, many of which are claiming to be mentors today, a mentor that's coddling is doing nothing but raising up a bunch of spoiled brats. And it's the spoiled brats in UX that are creating a lot of problems today. We need more and more people willing to tell people what they need to hear and not what they want to hear. There's too many people that these cowards today, which I talked about at length in another episode recently when I was talking about the sinister traits of UX, this came up. So the coddlers, the cowards, the enablers, they're not helping people grow. They're actually stifling people. They're making people dependent on them, and they're telling people what they want to hear because they value your feelings above your state. There are some of us that value your state more than your feelings. So something that you hear me say, it might hurt your feelings. I remember one of the folks, shout out, the person knows who it is. We had the last Kaizen UX rendezvous this past week. And a person said that they once came to me and asked me to review their portfolio, and I declined. And they said it was the best thing anybody ever did for them. Because the person realized, they said something on the line of, I would not allow them to build a dependency on me. The things that you're trying to get from me, the person ended up finding out that he was able to go and just get it by digging in and doing the work. So instead of fishing for him, the way that the metaphor goes, he ended up learning how to fish. And he's a better UX professional today because I refused to review his portfolio. Have I ever reviewed portfolios? Yes. Do I review portfolios? Yes. Do I review every portfolio when somebody asks me? Absolutely not. Because I want to do what's best for the individual. So at any rate, back to the message. I just wanted to share that. That person knew, and that person still engages with me to this day. And that person has become a better UX professional to this day because of how I reacted to them. Now, a lot of these other people, because they want you to coddle them, people would ask you questions because they want to be vindicated. They don't want to. Matter of fact, a lot of people who want you to look at their portfolios, they don't want feedback. They want you to tell them how great of a job they did. And a lot of times I can pick up on that early on, and I don't review their portfolios because they come to me with under false pretenses. And again, I've been counseling people for a long time, for over 4 decades. So I can see when people are doing that, and I'm not getting involved. And I'm not going to let you disrespect my time. And I'm not going to disrespect yours. So doesn't that sound more humane? Doesn't that sound more considerate to do that? And people don't even think about that. They don't even think that that's possibly the case. They don't think that anything good can come out of rejecting a request for help. But a lot of times people ask for help, but that's not really what they need. And there are not many people who would actually pick up on that. Somebody said, this guy, he needs your help. He just needs help. Why would you do that? That's harsh. I told somebody, I said, he didn't need my help. And what he needs, I'm not going to give him. And I'm not going to raise him. He had parents, somebody in his life. I'm not going to raise you. And so when I realize that you need something beside what you're asking for, I'm usually going to go the other direction because it's a waste of my time. I have plenty on my plate. I have a lot to do. And sitting there and having somebody hanging on the end of my coattails, I'm not going to do that. There's a reason my wife and I have cats, if you understand that metaphor. I'm not cleaning up anybody's poop. And I'm not gonna, I'm not, we'll clean out the litter box, but I'm not doing this other thing. I'm not doing that. So at any rate, and some people get the metaphor, Darren, that's harsh. No, it's not. It's not harsh. It's somebody called it tough love once. And do you know that all the best coaches in sports, that they thrive on it, and the people that actually they produce are always at the top of their game? I wonder why. So at any rate, a little Robin Leach there, but bad Robin Leach impression. I could do it better, but I'm not worried about that today. I'm more concerned about getting the message out today. So I told the person again, it's unprofessional. It's not professional, because if you were being professional, you would do it a different way. And other people have approached me from a professional way and asked me for something similar and got it. Now, number one, I'm not, and I talked about this in another episode, I'm not for helping people find a job per se, because that's, you want a job, go apply. Go apply. And you want to hear something else, and I know some of you are not going to like this, but you look on LinkedIn and you'll see somebody just lost a job. Hey, I just lost a job. I could really use your help, and blah, 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 blah. I've lost a job before. You know what I started doing? Applying. And you know what I did the next day? Applied. And you know what I did the day after that? Applied. And, time and chance is going to happen. If somebody is able to help you, they're going to help you. But the voice and tone of a lot of people that ask for help when they lose their jobs on LinkedIn, it's like, do you realize the line of jobless people? And it's like these people are jumping to the front of the line. And you can hear it in their voice and tone. Get busy. That's what I'm telling you. Get busy. Apply, apply, apply. Interview. And it's never about the 100 jobs you don't get. It's about the one that you do. It's taxing, the whole job search process. The UX world is completely dysfunctional when it comes to job seeking today. And there's going to be a lot of pain, a lot of painful days. And there's going to be easily a lot of tears. But you're still only going to get the job you apply for. So you've got to keep applying. And I've talked to people. I stopped applying. I just couldn't take it anymore. Well, do you expect things to get better or worse when you stop applying? Suck it up. If you need to cry, go cry. If you need to go for a walk, go for a walk. If you need to talk to somebody, go talk to somebody. But when you're done, gather yourself, pick yourself up, and go and apply and apply. You got to keep it going. But this coddling thing that people want to do, and again, normalizing rudeness. People were coming at me, Darren, that was harsh. No, it wasn't. And I know that it wasn't, and I'm not going to be harsh. I'm not going to mistreat you. I'm not going to be malicious. I'm not going to be hateful. I'm not going to be unprofessional towards you, but I am going to hold you accountable. I am going to challenge you to stand up like a grown person. I am going to challenge you to act like a big boy and a big girl. I am going to challenge you to be your absolute best. I am going to push you. I am going to try to encourage you to not let the things happening to you get to you. But I am not going to sit here and do everything for you. Matter of fact, I'm not going to do anything for you. You need to do it. You're grown. Get up. You're an adult. Get up and go and find that job. Get up there. You're a UX professional. UX your portfolio. And folks know who listen to this show know what I have to say about portfolios. It's a misguided, misdirected, deceitful currency. That's a necessary evil because of how people misdefine UX, and they look for portfolios and they try to judge people based on a portfolio the same way they judge a visual designer. And all of that stuff is garbage. And eventually people are going to learn that. But it does nothing. So why am I going to sit there and go portfolio after portfolio after portfolio after portfolio? And after your portfolio reaches its absolute best, are you more qualified now? No, you're not. You're not. You're not more qualified than you were before you start working on the portfolio. Look at that. Become more qualified. What have you done to sharpen your skills? People are just chasing checks. They're more concerned about a check than they are about being qualified. What does that tell you? At any rate, all the people out here that are making it seem like it's okay to be rude, it's okay to ask people for help. As a matter of fact, one person even said, can you help me understand why it's wrong to ask for help? And that's a straw man question. I never said it was wrong to ask for help. I said, don't ask, stop making cold requests to people you don't know. And people hear what they want to hear. And they didn't hear that I mentioned cold requests. And some people don't know what a cold request is. I mean, you just come out of nowhere and you present this request as if a person is sitting under a tree, drinking iced tea, waiting for you to come along, which they were not, which nobody is. So that's the cold request. And that statement cold, it comes from the world of sales, where there's something called a cold call. For those of you who are not familiar with that concept, a cold call happens when a salesperson just shows up. You were not expecting them. You didn't have an appointment. And so it was called a cold call. So when you send a message on LinkedIn or Twitter or wherever it is, if you send a message to somebody and you want them to help you and they were not expecting you and they don't know you, that's what's called a cold request. And cold requests and cold calls are borderline on rudeness. You might get a sale, you might not, but for the most part, because nobody expected you, it's like, anybody ever got I know a lot of you have listening, you ever been eating dinner and the phone rings and you answer it? It's more so years past. It doesn't happen as much today, but it still happens a bit. And you get a call, you answer the phone, and there's somebody trying to sell you a magazine subscription. That's a cold call. And what you usually do, 9 times out of 10, hang up. You would hang up because nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to be bothered with that. And some people say, hey, Darren, when you got that request, you could have just ghosted him, which would have been the equivalent of hanging up in a sense. But I want you to know why I'm not going to help you. I want you to know what you've done. I want you to have a sense of accountability. So now, when you go to reach out to somebody again, might you be more deliberate? Might you be more considerate? Might you be more structured in your approach? Might you be more selective? And everybody whether people like how I responded or not to that individual, you have to admit that that's going to cause somebody. The chances of that are higher than just ghosting them, saying nothing, offering no input, offering no insights is not helpful at all. But the coddlers, they'll say that doesn't help. That's because they're not working through it. If you work through step by step how I responded to that individual, I've responded to other individuals the same way. It depends on what they say and what they do. Hi, I just thought, I don't like AI. Don't send me AI generated messages. I can smell them a mile away. I think that's disrespectful. If you want me to help you with something, can you at least speak to me from the heart? Can you respect me enough? Since I don't know you, didn't expect your message, can you at least do it the best way possible? Somebody reached out to me once, Darren, hey, thanks for accepting my request to connect. I've been listening to your podcast. I checked out your book recommendation list. I really get a lot out of it. And so one day somebody said, hey, I know there's a lot of books on your list. Can I trouble you? They asked me. They didn't assume I was there for them. They didn't impose on my extremely busy life. And I am extremely busy. And they said, can I ask you to pick one book for me to focus on, maybe 2 out of that list? I just like to get a tip from you about a place to start and get your thoughts on that. And I said, you know what? I just happen to have some time. And I went and I said, hey, what about this one? What do you think about this particular book? This book, if you look at this book, and then I started going further. I gave them more than they asked me for. I ended up going back and forth with that person quite a bit. And I gave that person about 15, 20 minutes of my time and no charge, just did it out of the kindness of my heart. But the person approached me. They were professional. They were considerate. What a novel idea, right? To be professional and considerate. And even though They're looking to gain something for themselves. They did not disregard my time or commoditize it or act like it had no value. They demonstrated that they valued my time as well as what they were trying to do. And those are the people, those are the examples. Those are the people that are actually, everybody's always talking about standing out. That person stood out. They want to stand out when they're getting a job, but they don't want to stand out when they send you those terrible messages. And there's a lot of them that are really bad. This just happened to be the one. And I didn't share that. I said that talking about the number of impressions on LinkedIn, as I'm recording this episode, that post has had over 33,000 impressions on LinkedIn. And by the time we're done, it may have been up to 34,000. Because some people, they saw my reaction. They saw what people said, especially the people who were criticizing me for what I said, without understanding what I'm saying right now. Because there's no way you understand what I'm saying right now and think that what I did was wrong. And we're really taking time to break all these things down. And by the way, I knew all of these things when I said what I said to that individual, so I'm not making discoveries here. One person, they heard what I had to say, and another person came along, shout out to that person, you know who you are, who came along and shared some of the insights that I'm sharing with you now. And they said, wow, you know what? I never thought about it from that perspective. That's emotionally intelligent. You're working in a discipline that calls for emotional intelligence. You're working in a discipline or aspiring to be in a discipline that calls for being empathetic. Can you empathize with the person you're asking for help from? I'm already empathizing with you. I do it all the time. You know, for the people who are upset with me, you must have forgotten how much I give to this discipline, and those people who were critical of me, they don't give anything to the discipline. So you don't have a right to criticize me anyway. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, you don't have a right to criticize me either. Folks, rudeness is not normal behavior. It's dysfunctional. You cannot impose yourself in someone's life. You are not entitled to anybody's help. Nobody owes you a single solitary thing. And so you cannot just barge in and make yourself a part of somebody's life. You can't do that. You need to ease your way in. Come, you want to engage with me? Come to the Kaizen UX Rendezvous. Oh, you can't make it? Keep up with the content. Go and look at, I told somebody, if this person really wants help, they can look at all the content that I put out there and start there. And just like a lot of other people, I mean a lot of people, tap into my content and reach out and they say something. And you know what? We've gone from standard dialogue to having a rapport to having a relationship. And that's how I mentor people all over the world. I'm not going to do everything for you. When I get another person, I don't even count the people I engage with like some people do. Oh, I helped 200,000 people. Really? If you help that many people, why are we so dysfunctional? Well, you must not have done too much. if there's all these dysfunctional people out there, and even the person who does that actually doesn't realize that people don't realize that he really impacts them in a way that causes them to behave in a way that's not in their best interest. And we'll leave it at that. So folks, rudeness is not normal. We need to stop normalizing it. We need to stop accepting it. If you're a newer UXer, know that it's important to build a rapport. Rapport leads to relationship. Relationship leads to exchange. And when you actually make it a point, there's a Detroit UX meetup this week. Folks need to go to that. They need to engage, and not just to come and have your portfolio reviewed. There's 5,000 things that you need to do beyond that. We have the Kaizen UX Rendezvous. Come to that. Engage on LinkedIn. Like a post. Post a comment. You appreciate something shed light on you. Post a comment that says that. Not just with me, but with anybody. Share these types of things. Keep reading. Keep growing. Keep building your personalized learning network. Become a better you when it comes to UX. You will eventually and have patience with yourself. And so now you're extending the timeline of your own personal growth. So now you've got plenty of time to build relationships, to build rapport, and to learn from people. And now those things, people are going to be there. They're going to help you. They're going to remember you. They're going to talk about you. These things will come naturally. And when these things happen organically and they develop organically, you'll find people helping you. And I know a lot of people that get a lot of help and they don't even ask for it anymore. It just happens, folks. Let's do that. But let's stop normalizing rudeness like a lot of people did in this post. Like a lot of people will do. I mean, and I'll tell you, I'm transparent. I'll tell you, there's people, so many people made ridiculous statements. And then people came along and liked the ridiculous statement. That's a sign of the state, the poor state that this discipline is in when people want to normalize and embrace bad behavior. And if you embrace bad behavior, that means that you're insensitive to it. And that means you're more likely to duplicate it. And then if you duplicate it, if you duplicate that around the wrong person, that's going to have detrimental impact on you, your team, your users, your customers, your team, your company, and the discipline at large. We need to be better so that the discipline will be better and so that those coming after us will be better. There are people who are going to be in UX 5 years from now that are not thinking about it today. Can we set up a better environment for them to come into instead of this dog eat dog kind of thing where people come at people like me that want to encourage accountability? They want to try to make us out to be the bad guys when actually we're trying to set the stage for this thing to really be better. So that's all I care about today. I want it to be better. I want things to be better for you. I want things to be better for me. I want things to be better for the discipline. Now, can we get an agreement on that? I think we should. I think we should be able to. And if you take time, instead of taking time to criticize, take time to understand first, and you'll find out what you were about to criticize or what you did criticize is not what you thought it was. I had to block a lot of people because of this thing that happened, because I have to have boundaries. You have to have boundaries. And there are people who are willing to say things. You always hear people talk about constructive criticism, but that means there's something called destructive criticism. And with destructive criticism, that means that things are being torn down and there's destruction that's coming into play with that. That means that people's well-being and the optimization of that is being wiped out. We want there to be healthy scenarios that we can operate in. And if we normalize rudeness, there is no place on the face of the earth that normalizing rudeness is welcome. There's no place on the earth that normalizing rudeness renders benefits that people want to experience. So let's stop normalizing rudeness today. That message that person sent to me, again, I wish that person all the best in the world. And I hope they end up overcoming. I hope they end up getting better, but I'm not going to be there for it because I can't do that. If you don't have the decency to be humane, then we got to draw a line. We got to draw a line there. You don't want to impose your way into my life. You don't want to do that. I'm not sitting up under a tree drinking iced tea waiting for you. So let's do the right thing. Let's do things the right way. And everybody can be happy. Can't we all just get along? So that's it, folks. I hope you got something out of this. I hope you understand, for those of you who saw the post, I hope you understand better what it was that I did, why I did it, and why I will do it again if it happens tomorrow. And I'm not doing that. I'm not embracing that. I'm not encouraging it. I don't want to embolden anybody to behave badly. But that is all the time we have for today, folks. So thank you again for listening. Welcome again to those of you listening for the first time. Tell your friends about it. If you get something out of the podcast, you enjoy the podcast, please leave a rating that reflects such, because there's a bunch of haters out there and they sure make it known that they get upset about stuff like this. But I'm only telling you the truth or telling you what you won't face for the people who get angry about it. And I respect you enough to do that, and I will continue to do such. So until next time, it's time to sign off. This is Darren Hood, the host of The World of UX, wishing everyone all the best. And until next time, happy UXing, everybody.